Hello guys, hope so all of you are doing great. Today we'll be looking at 1ML model, 5 different frameworks of Python. And I know that I have been a bit late in uploading this video, but surely I promise you that this video will be good. Okay, so let's start and let's see how I deployed all these frameworks and what techniques I used. And also this video will be a two-part video. So the first one will be I will be showing you all the code that I did and all the frameworks that I have used, and we'll be ranking all these framework on basis of speed, features, and how much easy it was to code. Other than that, there are few more metrics that I'll be telling you later in this video itself. And the second part will be containing the EDA part of heart disease prediction, which is the dataset that I have used for this model itself. And I have done some very great amount of EDA and feature engineering in this project itself. So it would be a very great thing if you watch the second part of this video. Alright, so yeah, let's just start ahead. Let's just start and see what we have built here. So this this framework, like everyone was waiting for this, I know. So I'll be showing you now Pyscript. So I have deployed this using Pyscript, so you can also see the GitHub page itself. Okay, I have deployed it on GitHub also using Pyscript itself. If I just show you here, right, settings, you can see that I have deployed this GitHub page just by using Pyscript, so you can actually use this model here also. Alright, and I'll be showing you code just in a minute. And obviously it's in alpha phase, so it is actually running a bit slow for now. Hopefully this thing they will be able to fix in later versions of Pyscript. And I'm actually really with them, like I'm contributing with the community itself. So this you can actually fill out yourself, like I'm just giving out some random values. You can see what all the values from here also. Okay, so this is what it is. So suppose I just enter these values, so this should be low, right? Let me just put slope 0, CA 0, Thalamacia, let's put it some random number, let's say 125, maybe 150. Old peak, I don't know, 2. Age, what can be age? Let's say 47. Cholesterol can be higher, so the more the cholesterol, the more the chance of heart disease. So one more thing I wanted to tell you, that I have taken care of all recall and precision values, and there is a reason. I did some good amount of research, and I took some consideration in actually designing some new features also. So do check that EDA video when I'll be uploading it. I'll try to upload it in 2 days itself. Yeah, so I think I will be able to upload it in 2 days. So yep, that's it. So let me just show you how I actually coded this thing. Okay, so this is actually deployed using Pyscript. Now the only problem with Pyscript is you cannot open a pickle model easily. Okay, like I'll be very true with you, like you cannot open it now for now, because even if you want to, you need to be using PyFetch, which uses really not that good amount of steps, and also it is not a good way to do it, because even after using PyFetch you cannot actually import a module or import a model itself. Okay, and there are some reasons, like it is not supporting that for security purposes also. For that reason I use this method, which is not a good method again, but for now it's not something like a production thing, so I'm not going to obviously do this thing in real life projects. But this is what we have done. So we have actually taken all these xtrain, xtest, ytrain, ytest from the GitHub itself. Okay, and this is the raw data. Okay, and then we have just, now what you must be thinking, why I've used this. So basically nothing, we were getting one more feature, so I just used ilog1 to just remove that one more extra feature. Okay, so this is what we have done. We have created a function submit, which is actually triggered whenever we press this, not this here, okay, which is a submit tag. And this is how you actually use pys on click to basically trigger this. Okay, whenever submit button is clicked, this function will be triggered. And what this function does, it takes all these values. Like element prediction means it is actually nothing but DOM manipulation. So it is taking DOM, it is going here and it is capturing this particular part here. Okay, sorry. When I say that it's capturing that part, I mean that it is actually getting all that h4, and whenever I use this dot value, that means it's basically going to enter the value whatever we are actually inputting in sex, that will be inserted here. Okay, now understand this, for this final output I have not used any dot value because this is not what we are going to print. For write we are using this method here, final output dot write prediction text, and this is how we are actually taking the prediction text by actually comparing the predicted value. If it is 0, then there is no presence of heart disease, and if it is not 0, then there is a presence of heart disease. So that is how we are actually using what we are doing in the backend itself. And you can see that I am using a random forest classifier with n estimators is equals to 400, minimum sample split is equals to 15, max depth is 15, minimum sample leaf is 5. Now you might be thinking how I actually got up with all these params. So basically I used when I was doing hyperparameter tuning itself, so I was able to find that these were the best parameters, so I used these, nothing else. So that's it. Yeah, this is how actually I was able to deploy it in Pyscript. You can check all this code in my GitHub repository also. Okay, so this was just the one method. Okay, we'll be ranking these frameworks later on. Alright, now the 5 frameworks includes Pyscript, Django, Fast API, Streamlit, and also Flask. Now you might be thinking that where is Flask folder, right? So this whole app, the first app I'll say, was created in Flask, so I did not create a folder. Well, I know this is not a good practice, but I thought that it would be great if just Flask remain in the main folder, because my idea was to actually deploy it in Flask itself. So I created the Flask app first, I'll say, and I was not actually thought of this particular thing. I actually thought up for this idea like 5 framework just because I wanted to see how all these frameworks actually rank, if I want to rank them. So that's all. So yeah, so let's see how Flask works. Okay, so I have already command prompt open here. So yeah, so let's see how the Flask app looks like. Okay, sorry. So the code is same, just the deployment part is actually increased. Okay, so I can just copy this. Alright, if I just paste it there, you can see that again we have this framework, right? And the best thing about Flask is you can do so many things with Flask, right? It's not just required that you need to create this thing. You have already seen this work. So in Pyscript also I've used the same thing. But like Pyscript itself, Pyscript you can just give someone this HTML file and this will work, right? So it is making deployment part really easy. Whereas in Flask and other apps there are multiple like there is template folder that is required. You need to code Python app differently, and then you need to code an index page which can actually output your result, right? So these steps are involved in Flask, but I would say that almost for many people Flask will be the better option than any other framework. Why? Because of how easy it is first, and second of all how you can actually do multiple things with it. It is not required that you just go and use HTML. You can use any different languages which you want for front end. Okay, and that is why actually many people love Flask. So if I just show you code, this is the code that I have written. So it is a very simple basic code, and don't mind these comments. So basically I use this comment to actually check few things. Okay, so here is the main code. So you can see that I have just created a route to predict. So this is nothing that whenever we actually want to predict, this will be the post method will be called, and then it will just predict all these outcomes. Okay, so first of all it will use request.form to actually capture the form data itself. So suppose sex is having some value, then it will capture this, and then again the CP value will be captured from form, and all these value after doing all these procedures, like, and you might be thinking why I'm using these if age. So I created a category, as I told you, for age and cholesterol and old peak, and I created this category based on some research, not like randomly. I have not created any category. That's why I was able to get a very good accuracy. So I got somewhere around 89% of accuracy. So this is a good thing. Okay, now here you can see again I'm just predicting all these outcomes by passing it here, and after that I'm just passing the text to the output to basically index the main file that is there. Okay, so you can see I'm returning render template. Index.html is what our file name is. Okay, prediction text is the, I'll say, the variable that we want to pass to the index so that it can render, and this is what we are actually doing. Okay, simple. Now, yep, so that is how it is working. Yep. So let me show you the other frameworks now. So this was Flask. We'll be ranking all these frameworks later in this video. So the third framework that we have is, let me show you Streamlit now. Now, personally, I like Streamlit really very much. Why? Because number one, it is very easy to learn and also to work on. Number two, the deployment part is super easy. Like, there is no index file required. When I say index, I mean there is no HTML file required. There is no designing that you have to think about, and it's pretty easy to deploy and also work with. So straight away you get a very great template that looks good, and also it is like Streamlit has this thing, and also there is now a multi-page support also in the new version. So if you have a new version, you can actually use the multi-page. So basically you can create multiple pages in Streamlit app itself. So that is one more thing that I love about it now. So let me just show you how Streamlit works. Okay, so let me just go into folder, and for Streamlit you need to write Streamlit run app.py. Pretty simple command. Okay, so yeah, and the only thing that I feel that Streamlit lacks is it takes some time to load. Even though Flask was really fast, as you can see, but Streamlit takes some time. Okay, now in this video I'm also going to tell you which framework is the most fastest. So if you are actually thinking about all performance, then I'll be telling you the best framework for you, which I personally like also. So this is the heart disease prediction Streamlit version. So you can see that this is how the UI looks, and straight away this UI looks amazing, right? This UI looks such an amazing, like this is really good, right? And you can see that we have this info here. You can see all the information. Now I have used that same code for this. Like, this code is, I'll show you what this HTML code is. This is an HTML code, and there is a very silly mistake here. Okay, I'll tell you what that is. So okay, but before that, just see this, right? Amazing, right? If I just write all these values, okay, and if I just write 45, old peak as 1, exang as 0, FBS as 0, rest ECG as 1, thalash as 1, and yeah, it's pretty simple. Nothing like, I can just write any random numbers here, right? So let's say 300. Okay, so I'll tell you one thing. I know that 255 is a low cholesterol value. Okay, and CA is again 0 LJ. Okay, so let's just predict it. You have a chance of heart disease. Okay, that's fine. So that is how it actually works. Okay, yep, you can see all this information here. So that is for Streamlit. It was very easy to use, amazing framework. I'll show you the code. Okay, I'll show you the code now, and you can access all this code through my GitHub, and I'll be uploading a link for it in my description after this video is uploaded. So you can see that the code is pretty simple. Again, we are just loading the pickle file here, and then we are just I'll tell you what this function is. This is nothing. This is actually being called in like below code, and then after doing that, it is actually predicting some value and returning that result. Okay, and here this thing. Okay, so you can see that old peak categorization, all these. So we have used HTML code here. Okay, so you can use HTML code in Streamlit using Markdown. So if you see here, ht.markdown HTML temp I have just passed here, so that we can actually render this HTML here. So this is also a great feature in Streamlit itself. Then you have this ht.button info. So this will actually show you an info button. So whenever this button is clicked, this whole thing will print out basically. Okay. Again, similarly, we have this predict button. So whenever this predict button is clicked, this thing it will show on success. Okay, got it? So that's why I used a function here. Okay, it's pretty simple. It's not not that complicated. Like if I rank code in able to understand, like if I want to rank this code in ability to understand this code easily, then Streamlit is the best framework for code understandability, because it's very simple syntax. It has a very human touch in it, right? You can see that for title tag, we just write st.title, so it will just give our whole app a title name, as you can see here, right? Then we have this st.number input for number input. If you want, you can also do this text input here by just writing text underscore input. Okay, and that is how it works. Okay, nothing complex. Similarly, here we have just again did the same thing, categorization of age, cholesterol, and old peak. Okay, then we pass the value into prediction function, and prediction function is predicting and giving us a return result. Okay, and then we are saving it in the result, and then we are printing it. So that is what it is doing in Streamlit. Now I'll be showing you the last two app now, which is Fast API and Django, one of the most famous frameworks, right? Fast API, which is right now it is getting really popular, and there is a very good reason for it. I'll tell you later on. So if I just show you, okay, if I'll just show you Fast API. Alright, let me show you Fast API, or should I show you Django first? Okay, let's do one thing. I'll show you Django first, then I'll show you Fast API. Okay, so let me show you Django first. Alright, oh my bad, so I need to go back first. Okay, so let me just go back, and yep, till then you can actually subscribe to my channel for getting all this content. Okay, so, and I need to go inside app also. Now I can just run it. Python m run server. Sorry. Manage.py. Yep. Alright. Okay. Sometime we need to use manage, sometime we used to note. Yep, so it's done, I think. Yeah, finally it's done. Okay, so for Django, I know this could be a bit disappointing to you, but I have not deployed it in a similar fashion like I have deployed like other frameworks like Streamlit or Flask or Pyscript. Why? Because I thought that there should be a diversity in the project, so I used REST API here. Okay, I used REST framework for Django to build you an amazing thing, which is nothing but Django REST API. So you can actually predict outcomes using an API, and I'll be showing you how to use it using Postman itself. So if I just show you Postman here, okay, let it run. So inside the body you can actually pass all these values. Okay, I have some values already set up for you, and you can predict a result here. Okay, so before actually showing you how it works, let me just show you the code itself. Okay, and I'll be really like, I'll be telling you the truth itself. Django was the most difficult one for me to actually work on, and there is a very important like thing that I want to tell you. It is not because the framework is not good. The framework is absolutely amazing. It has its own database, so you can actually utilize that also if you don't want to create your own database and things like that. But the only problem is that it has too many things. Because of that, sometimes it becomes a bit complicated. Although it is a great framework, I have to tell you this. Django and Flask are both based on one similar thing that I'll tell you later on in this video, because I need to cover a fast API for that before I'll tell you that secret thing that fast API has. But Django took a lot of time, and there is a reason that I'm going to show you why. I think I need to open this whole folder to actually able to show you also. If you don't know, Django needs some amount of configuration. Okay, if you have never used Django, you might don't know about it, but Django actually use some amount of configuration for the template folder and the static folder. And sometimes when you actually want to use a simple CSS file also with the index page, which you actually save in the template folder, which you properly mention where is the template directory, sometimes even your static file does not load just because you have not actually properly mentioned where are your static files. And using SCSS in Django is a headache. Like I'm literally telling you, it's a headache. Like I needed to search so many articles on how to actually use this SCSS. And yeah, later on I was able to do it, but man, it took me a lot of time. So I did not use SCSS or anything CSS. Here I used a REST framework here, which actually made things easier for me. I'll be very honest with you. Okay, so you can see that in the urls.py there's nothing. I just mentioned the predict here. So whenever I'm actually passing predict, then only my all these things will work. Okay, and I have actually mentioned the whole code. The whole code is written in the view itself. So you can see here, this is the whole code that is actually using. We are using REST framework. So if you don't know, REST framework needs to be installed separately for Django. And how I was using it is very simple. Actually, I'm using REST framework here. You can install this by using pip install Django REST framework. You can see in Google also how to use it. Now, it's a pretty simple code. If you see here, I have used API @API view get here. So this is how we are actually able to get. So when we are doing a simple post get request, so this is what you will get. Okay. Now, if you are doing a post request and you are actually passing all these variables in the body itself, then it will actually start the prediction here. We have already loaded the model. Okay, now result is equals to, you can see that this is how it is actually saving this in the list itself. And then we are actually not doing nothing. We are loading this model from here, ml model main model.pickle. Okay, which is this folder, and inside this we have this pickle file of our, and then we are doing a simple prediction. Okay, so nothing different. The only difference is that we are passing it using this key pair values. Okay, this in this dictionary, like error is 0, message is successful, and then in prediction we are actually passing the prediction itself. So if I'll just show you how it works, so let me just show you how it works. Now, as I was saying that Django was a very stressful task. I need to show you one more thing. Like whenever you are using Django, the most important part to see is this thing here. Okay, you need to configure all these things properly. When I say all these things, I don't mean all this, but there is one simple problem that is there. Let me show you. Okay, so I have removed this from here. Okay, no, that is it. So when you are actually using index files, you need to actually configure this. You need to configure a template folder, and here you need to mention the directory itself. So you need to actually specify it in somewhat this way. So base directory is nothing but it is actually going to your base directory. Okay, if you can see this thing here. Okay, so this is actually getting your parent directory, and then after getting that parent directory, you need to actually mention in a how to basically you need to join it. Okay, so just join this base directory with the template folder itself. For now I'm not using it because I'm not using a template folder here, but if you want to, you need to do these steps. So that's why it becomes a bit slow process, because sometimes the configuration actually does not work because of some reason you don't even sometimes understand. Like I actually did a configuration for static files. Template file were done easily, and I did for static files. For some reason my CSS file was not loading, and I checked all the locations, I checked everything again and again. I tried it, but it was not working for some reason, and then suddenly it started working. I don't know what. I just changed maybe this backslash something, and it started working. So it was that much sometimes, like it creates a problem. And yeah, so this was the Django code. That is how we actually did it. Okay, you can see this code again in my GitHub, and let me just show you how it works. So if I just pass these values, I can also change this, and if I'll just show you the response itself, right, you have a chance of heart disease. Okay, now obviously there is some time involved in actually sending and getting the request. So now I'll be showing you why I was saying that my next framework is the most performance oriented. Okay, so it is literally the most performance oriented, I'll say, and let me just show you why. Okay, so that is it for this part here. Yep, now let's go and use Fast API. Okay, so to use Fast API we use UVCon. Okay, which actually makes it the most fastest, and it also has Pydantic in it. So Pydantic actually helps you to, if there are some errors in writing actually your post request, then it will fix it. Or then it will not fix it, sorry, it will show you some exception or something like that. So if you are passing, instead of passing int or double, if you are passing something else, it will show you an exception. Okay, so if I just go back, cd e slash projects slash heart disease prediction. Alright, and just get into Fast API, and the command for running the Fast API app is pretty simple. You just need to write your app name and then this thing here. Okay, and it should run on localhost. Yep, so it has start running, and now I can just show you. And do you know why I like Fast API? Let me just show you. This is the reason why I like Fast API the most. Okay, just see this. If I just write /docs here, I don't need to use Postman also. So this is why I like it. Like it has this amazing like thing here. So again, now let me just say this is a Swagger UI. So now they have just like written it as Fast API, but previously Swagger API like Swagger UI was written here. So yeah, this is actually a Swagger UI. So let me just show you how you can use it. You can just simply like try it out and actually put all these values. So this can be anything. 1 0 1 means male, 0 means female. Okay, similarly trash BPS, age 47, something like this. Let's say cholesterol we are having 255. Okay, or let's do one thing, because this is our last framework, so we will try to see how much accurate our our model is. Okay, so for that I'll do nothing. I'll just go here and I will check if I have the data. Yeah, I have the data. So I'll not use this one because this is actually encoded. I have this data here and I'll be using the test value itself. This is these are going to be the test values itself. Okay, so if I just use these values also, let's see what will be our output. Okay, so sex is 1, again age is, where is age, age is here. So what is the age? 63. Alright, I'll just put 63 here. Then CP is 3, trust BPS is 145. Great. Cholesterol is 233. So a decent level of cholesterol. Hopefully he don't have any heart disease. Okay, FBS, that is what I'm guessing. I'm not a machine learning model, but I'm a human, so I'm also learning. So yeah, rest ECG is 0. Oh, for 0 I don't have to subtract it. Thal, so this is Thalash. Okay, this is not Thal, this is Thalash. Sometimes I get confused. 150. Exang is 0, which is already 0. Old pick is 2.3. Great. Alright, slope is 0, that is 0. CA is 0. Alright, Thal is 1. Thal is 1. Great. And the output should be 1. So if I'm not wrong, let's see the output. Okay, so heart disease present. And if I'll just check the code itself, right, if I just check the code, right, now you might be thinking what was heart disease.py. I will tell you, don't worry about it. Okay, so here you can see that what is our 0 is nothing but no heart disease, and what is our 1, it is heart disease present. So it is definitely working great. So yep, our model is actually predicting these values properly. So this is what I wanted to show you. That is how you actually use Fast API, and it's pretty simple. It is the most fastest framework, and there is a reason. Let me just show you why it is the most fast, like the most best for the performing perspective. So the number one thing that I wanted to show you is where it is. I cannot find that. Let me just see. As you can see here, it is using Node.js and Go. Well, this is only the one part. I wanted to show you a very important thing. I think it is not mentioned here because this is not how it actually works, right? So if I just write uvcon, okay, so I think I can show you it here. Yeah, I can show you. So you can see that it is using an ASGI web server. Now, why ASGI is better? Number one, it is asynchronous. Okay, now if you are actually from a coding background, you might know what is asynchronous is, and this is a very good interview question also. So you should actually search if you don't know. I'll not give you the answer and spoil it. If you know the answer, comment it down. Okay, now this is actually using ASGI web server, and this thing alone is actually making this thing the most, or I can say the best performing in all these frameworks. Okay, now you should know this, why Fast API is the best performing, because it has this ASGI interface. And if I just show you what Django and other are using, you can see that Flask itself is not using ASGI, it is using WSGI. If I can just show you, you can see here WSGI, right? And this is not that fast if you compare it with ASGI. So this is one reason why Flask is not that fast, or Django is not that fast than Fast API itself. Hope so you like this thing, you like all these things. And yeah, you might be thinking why we have this heart disease.py, right? If I just show you, so actually in this heart disease, this is nothing but it is actually a class where we are actually inheriting pydantic, which I told you, if I can that Pydantic will give errors during the API calls. So whenever we are, if I just show you the documentation itself, okay, let me just show you the documentation itself. So you can see that Pydantic is nothing but data validation and setting management using Python type annotation. So if you are actually passing, if the variable is for int and you are actually passing anything other than int, so it will actually give you an exception. Okay, simple. You can read this documentation for getting more knowledge about Pydantic, and that is why we are using heart disease. So basically it has nothing but we have created a class. If I can just show you, yep. So you can see that we are using, first of all, we are importing a base model from Pydantic, which is the important thing to if you want this to work, and we are actually inheriting class HD, which is nothing short form for heart disease, with this base model. This is what you need to do if you want Pydantic to be in your Fast API app. And then we are doing nothing, we are just like assigning sex as int, CP as int, trust PP as int, which are actually our default values. So that is how we are actually doing it. And yeah, that's pretty much it about Fast API. So yep, hope so you guys actually loved this thing. And now let's go ahead and rank all these frameworks, right? So yep. Alright guys, so we are in our Microsoft whiteboard, and let me just show you what new tool I have brought for you. So this is what it is. So it's a graphic tab. So I'll be writing all my mathematic intuitions and basically the theory things using this. Okay, so let's just go ahead and rank these frameworks. Alright, so our first framework, which was nothing but the Django, let's say. Okay, so let's see first of all what are all frameworks were. Okay, so let me just select a pen. Okay, so we actually used 5 frameworks as I promised. Okay, let's keep the new one as our first. Okay, so we have Pyscript here. Then let's say for now Streamlit. Okay, that's it. I'm not ranking this, I'm just writing down the names. Okay, and third one was Django. Then we have Flask, and then we have our Fast API. Okay, okay, simple. We have used a single model, which is nothing but heart disease prediction. And yep, for those, my writing is not good, I know. Really sorry about that. So yeah, these were our all the things, and let's just start ranking them. Okay, if I can just move down a bit. Alright, yep, that's fine. Okay, so number 1, let's start with Pyscript. Okay, because Pyscript was definitely, so let's say the number 1 metric is, okay, in terms of ease, it was pretty easy. It was pretty easy to use, I'll say. The deployment was easy. Okay, in terms of coding it, okay, so in terms of coding or coding, I'll say understandability, it was, I'll say, I'll give it a 5-star. If I give it a 5-star for ease, okay, I'll give it for coding, I'll give it around, let's say, 4-star. Okay, again for ease. Okay, it was easy to code, like there was not many things that was involved. Okay, for usage also it was easy. Number 3, performance, how it performed. Now I do know about that this is in alpha phase, so I cannot actually rank it properly, but if I want to rank it in terms of performance, I'll still give it a 3. Okay, because it is a good performing, although it takes some time to load. But see, even if you are deploying it on any platform, that will also take some time to load. So it is actually saving you that much time. So basically it is actually saving a lot of time, a lot of money in terms of deployment. So you don't need to actually go ahead and actually deploy your things on platforms like AWS or maybe Google Cloud. You can just directly pass someone a model, right? You can just share them an HTML file and they can just see your model working. So in terms of performance, even though it is slow, I'll give it a 3-star. Now let's talk about and yeah, one more metric is there, that is feature, right? So features, how many features are there? I'll say for feature I'll give it a 4-star, because there was obviously, we can use DOM manipulation, we can do many things just by using Pyscript. So it is working as an alternative of JavaScript. And if you have actually studied the Pyodide framework itself, how the Pyodide works, this is nothing but a fork of Pyodide. Okay, so this is nothing but the fork of Pyodide. So if anything you are using in Pyscript, you can actually use that, all those things, you can actually find all those things in Pyodide itself. So that is what I like about it. So I'll say that it is a great framework to go ahead with. Okay, so that's all about Pyscript. Now let's just go ahead and see all other frameworks, right? So let me just move down. I am very new for this pen thing here, so don't mind if I don't do things properly. Okay, so yep. So after Pyscript, let's talk about Flask, which is the most loved framework, and I also work in Flask. So yep. Now again, we have ease, we have coding, right? We have features, and the most important metric is performance. Now for ease of coding, for ease of basically understanding the Flask itself, okay, Flask was a pretty easy framework. It did not took me much time to understand it because of the simplicity of Flask and also the great documentation that it provides. So I'll give it a, I'll say because we have Streamlit also here and Flask API also here, so I cannot give it a total 5 because there were some folders, involvement of making folders and things like that. Now, so that's for that particular reason I'm giving it 4-star. Okay, just because of that reason, but it was definitely a very easy framework to understand. If you are a starter, you should definitely go ahead with Flask. Okay, for coding, again I will give it a 4-star because the code part was also not that difficult, although you need to know front end coding to basically design the front end, or you can actually find some other way to basically do that, but that is not that much problem. So 4-star I'll give it for coding because the code for the Flask itself for creating a small case app is very easy. Definitely it's a great thing. Now in terms of features, I'll say for features I was not able to find many different things for Flask, I'll say, but that can be totally my personal because I was not able to research that much. I could have find more frameworks or more things that it provides, but clearly for features I think that Django has more amount of features just because what it actually packs in its overall package. So for that reason only, just because of that reason, that I find that Django has its own admin panel, it has its own database itself. So for that reason only I'm giving features. For features I'm not giving Flask some good points here, just because of that. Okay, so for that reason only I'm giving it 3-star. Okay, for performance, definitely again it's a 4 for Flask because I like the performance. Okay, so it is a 4 for Flask. Now again let's go ahead and let me just do it. Okay, Alright, I tried it. Okay, so don't worry, let's just place it here again. Okay, so after Flask, the framework that we are going to talk about is the framework that I have a love and hate relationship with. Clearly, I have a love and hate relationship with this framework, and that is Django. So some people, I don't know why I call it Django. Sometimes I call it Django. The name is Django, and I know I do this mistake a lot. So the name is Django. So yeah. So again, it is not easy. I'll definitely say it is not easy, just because of this reason that just for loading a CSS file, although I know Flask is no way also great in it, but for Flask it was not that difficult really. It was really simple. You just have to create a static folder in the directory itself. But in Django you need to configure that static folder, and sometimes it takes so much time, and you cannot use SCSS, and I think in SCSS you cannot use it in Flask also. But just because I thought that Django should have some easy way around it, but it was really a bit difficult, I'll say. But this is all my perspective. Clearly someone else would be way more better with Django. I am great with Flask. I love Flask. I use it a lot, and that's why I think that I was able to do it pretty much easily in Flask. For Django I needed to go and did some kind of a research, and that's why I actually use REST framework, so that actually makes things easy. Yeah, so this is one reason. So for this reason itself, for ease, I'm not giving it a good 5 star or 4 star even. I'll give it a 3 star. Okay, sorry if you are a Django fan, or again if you are a Django fan. Okay, for coding coding in Django was pretty much simple. It was very similar, but again we have to do all these views, we have to go and do all these things. So just because of that reason, again I'm not giving it a great star. Okay, in terms of features, I did find that Django has too many features. So if you are a website developer, clearly Django is made for you. Like, it has so many features. Like, I was able to find like all these things, all these different frameworks that can go ahead with Django. Sorry, again Django, I'm really sorry. Django. Okay, so many features it have that I actually felt that for just because of these amount of features that people should use Django if they are in web development, because it makes life so easy, right? So just because of these features, I'll give it a good 5 star. Okay, but this is completely see, this is what I am feeling. You can feel really differently about this, I know. So some people, I hope so, like, people don't say bad in comment, but this is just a personal thing that I believe that that is what I think for Django. So yep, you can have some different feelings. So the fourth is nothing but a very important thing, that is performance, right? Performance metrics. So I don't know, did I actually give the performance rating for Flask? Let me just see. Yeah, I did give it. So yeah, so for performance it was fine. It was like, for performance, it's a very great framework. It is similar to Flask. It is using again WSGS, so because of that reason the performance is great. So I'll give it a 4 star for performance. So performance has, like, there is no problem in performance. Okay, now let's go ahead and see a really great framework. Okay, a really great framework, and let's rank it. Okay, what is happening here? I need to just go down a bit. Alright, I don't know what is happening. I think I selected something, maybe, don't know. So leave it. Okay, I'll just write it here. Okay, so our next framework is nothing but an amazing Streamlit. Alright, so I don't want to bore this, so I'll be just a bit quick. So Streamlit, just because, see, no code is involved. Clearly, like obviously there is a little bit of code involved, but the easiest framework to even deploy also, like if you just go to Streamlit website, that is very easy to deploy. Okay, you can just deploy a Streamlit app directly in Streamlit website itself. Okay, so in terms of ease, it's clearly a really easy framework to use, so I am giving it a 5-star just because of that. In terms of coding, again, it was very easy to code, so I'll give it a 4-star here. I can give it a 5-star, but I feel that 5-star would not be that much amazing. Like, we are doing some amount of coding, and sometimes it actually becomes a headache. Like, I don't want to use st.number, or maybe I want to use st.text, but sometimes converting that text into an integer, it becomes a difficult thing. So, but that is not that big of a problem. Sometimes that happens. So in few cases, you would like to actually do few things with the form itself, so that you cannot do. So that's why I'm giving it 4-star, that you don't have that ability to do something with your form, so basically the default forms. Okay, now similarly, that is also goes for Django. You can use forms that are created using Django forms, but again, it lacks that particular thing, although you can actually customize it using simple bootstrap and all. Okay, let me just tell you one more thing. After coding Streamlit, okay, in terms of features, Streamlit is really amazing. Like, it now has the multi-page support also. So in terms of features, it is not going to surpass Django. I'm really sorry. It is not going to surpass Django, but it is again a good 4-star here. Okay, in terms of performance, I cannot give it a 5 because it does not have that good of a performance. It does not lag behind from Flask and all, so I'll give it a 4 in performance. Okay, and now our last framework, Fast API. My personal love. Okay, I love Fast API just because of how great it is in its performance. Like, it is the best out there. Okay, so it is clearly made only for performance itself. The goal for Fast API was to get the best performance ever in terms of deployment. So, and you can actually create so many things just by using Fast API itself. You can use Django also, but using Fast API is very, very simple. Okay, like, it's really simple, and again, the documentation that they provide is really easy to understand and really easy to work with. So for ease, I personally like it a lot. Again, the code is really simple. You can use so many things here, so I'm giving it a 5-star, no matter what anyone will say to me. But for me, it is clearly a 5-star just because of what it is actually giving and how easy it is to do. Right? After ease, then we are actually up with coding. Coding Fast API again was not at all a difficult task, but it was certainly we needed to create pydanting and all these things. So for that reason only, I'm giving it a 4-star. Well, it deserved clearly a 5-star, but just because of that reason, I'm giving it a 4-star. Now, in terms of features, Fast API actually provides you a really good amount of feature. Like, you can use docs to basically see that Swagger UI, right? And other than that, it is using ASGI, so it is again the most fastest framework ever. You can use pydantic to actually help you remove all that exceptions if some cause, and that these things are really great, right? So in terms of features, I cannot let it go behind. I cannot. This is my love, so I will be giving it a 4-star. Okay, now I'm actually getting a bit biased here because I do like Fast API a lot. So, but these are all my thought. If you don't like Fast API, that's up to you. These are my thoughts, what I felt when I was coding all these frameworks. And now, after features, let's go ahead with the last, performance. Clearly, now it's like I told this too many times, I said this too many times, now it is clearly proven that Fast API is the best performer out of there. No one can beat this thing right here. Okay, no one can beat this thing till now for performance metrics. So these are my rankings. Clearly you can see that if I just click here and I just remove pen and click here, can I get mouse with touchpad? No. So for some reason I cannot. Let me just click it. Alright. So clearly you can see now for Flask, our total score is somewhere around 8 plus 7, okay, which is 15, right? So for total score is 15 for Flask. For Django it is 15, right? And for Fast API it is 5, 4, 9, 4, 13 and 13, 5, 18, right? If I just go down now, okay, for Streamlit it is somewhere around 9, 13 and it's 17, right? So these are our scores. So you can clearly see Fast API wins in all parameters. For my assumptions, Fast API is the best for now. Okay, so clearly if you are a new person and you want to start deploying your projects, you can use Fast API. But if you want something for front end, you can clearly go with any one of these. You can use Streamlit if you are really new, like if you have never learned anything like what are HTML, what is CSS, what is JavaScript, you don't know about all these things, you can go ahead with Streamlit. Clearly that is the best framework out there for doing that. And if you want to work with front end also and you want to really create some great projects, you can go both with Flask or Django. Both will work fine. I'll prefer that you go with Flask because it is a bit more easier to work with. But if you want some more functionality and you want to actually create a very good website with login and all these things, then you should actually prefer Django. So these are all my rankings. I will update this ranking in my GitHub also. So yeah, that's it. That's all for the video. Keep learning, keep watching and subscribe to my channel. Hope so you like this video, and if you like this video, please do subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching. Tada, bye bye.